Peace, family. This is Aurora Divine. I go by Divine Intuition here on YouTube. And today is such a beautiful day. It's like slightly under 60, which is almost a miracle because we're still in winter. And I thought it was such a beautiful day that I wanted to come outside and just walk and just kind of talk about something that I've been realizing. I feel like I'm also picking it up from a collective standpoint, and my dreams have been showing me this. And it has to deal with past relationships. I'm just trying to cross a street right now, so I'm just, seeing when it's a good time to cross. But these past relationships is something that I've been dreaming about for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. But I started realizing I can't be the only one dreaming about this. I feel like this is just happening on a collective scale, which would definitely resonate with reflecting back, right? Reflecting back on the past. But it's also releasing. And I started realizing that a lot of these experiences that have been kind of coming up, they've been showing me things that I'm currently working on, but also in detail, what is it that was lacking at that point? And even down to some friendships. And some of those friendships, which were really not friendships, it was more like acquaintances. I started realizing that at one point, once I got to see who that person was, I started just cutting people out of my life. And at one point, people would call it ghosting, which they would kind of speak as like a negative reference. However, it's two aspects, right? Or multiple aspects of what that looks like. And so I wanted to speak from more of a observer, what I've been observing. And what I've been observing is that we ourselves are definitely having a reflection of past experiences as a collective. And in this collective time of reflection, I'm starting to notice that these are reference points so that we can actively see what we're holding on to as far as trauma. And a lot of us may not realize having dreams of ex relationships, ex friendships, people that you don't even speak to anymore is still something that you're holding within. I've been noticing that it's a few different ex relationships that I've been dreaming about. And some of these people, we're not all abusive, and it doesn't have to mean physically abusive, because it could be emotionally, it could be verbally. However, there was still things within them that were unhealed, which is a reflection of things within me that were unhealed. And so once I started putting these pieces together, I started realizing, wow, this is actually deeper, and it's triggering, pulling things within myself, pulling it up in a sense where I'm able to reflect on it based off of memories that come up associated to these dreams, right? And so for me, what that looks like is I'll have a dream about, let's say, an ex relationship. I won't name any names just for the respect. But let's say it's one ex relationship one ex that I dreamt about. And, you know, it got me to see that there are still things that are within myself that I'm still holding on to. And sure enough, you know, my higher self kind of like brings a certain memory forward, and I start to realize why that memory was brought forward. I also feel that when it comes to memories, I feel that we hold everything within us, and that's what our subconscious is doing. Our subconscious is actively crossing a big street right now. Our subconscious is actively recording every moment, every moment of every minute, and it's recorded, whether we know so or not. Not so much think it, you know. I wonder why my earphone keeps disconnecting. So I started realizing, right, that you know, they say if you don't know where you've been, how can you know where you're going? Which would mean like the past is something to learn from. Again, it just connected again. I don't know what's going on. And so the past is something to learn from. We should be actively understanding why we're having certain dreams. We should be learning from these experiences. And everything in your dream is symbolic for something. What you're wearing, what you're seeing, the action of, even the feeling, the association of whatever that situation is, like what's the feeling behind that, will definitely tell you what those, sorry, it's Chicago, 1 minute. Okay, so a lot of these experiences that I've been having, they've been leading me to things that I'm starting to understand that need to come up, and there's an association as far as learning from the past. Whew. Wow. Okay, so let me just tell you what happened. As I said past, my left foot tripped. And so we be tripping on our past, right? That's what my higher self is saying. If we be tripping on our past, that means we're never able to walk forward because we're stumbling on our past. And that's the reason what I've been realizing, like why I've been having so many dreams. It's because there are things that we're not willing to let go. I've had a few experiences with an ex. A few exes that didn't understand what boundaries were, and maybe because they had no boundaries of their own, they, refused to understand or accept what boundaries are. And that is something else that, you know, my higher self has been speaking to me about. Have you ever had an ex where you cut them off, but they don't understand what boundaries are, so they keep kind of stalking you? Hold these boundaries in place, because these are definitely necessary. The one thing you don't want to have in this life is no boundaries. Boundaries are just passing some people. Boundaries are definitely necessary, but it's not even necessary. It's critical. It's like a lifeline. The minute that you put down your boundaries or you have no boundaries set is when you open up a world of chaos. You open up yourself to everything, meaning that there are no limits. People can push your limits, people can do whatever to you because of the fact that you have no boundaries. And so I started realizing these were some of the things that kept coming up as far as my past relationships. I had no boundaries. I think within only one relationship did I ever have like real boundaries. And even then, I still was dealing with someone who was quite manipulative, because they felt that they were still entitled to certain things. I think the entitlement comes from expectations. And you know what sucks about that is that I think we're going to take a seat real quick. All right. I honestly feel expectations really come from projection. Like when people project what they want onto you, which is another thing that I've been realizing that I've been dealing with, is a lot of people's projections. And that's another thing that I have been realizing in my dreams. As a collective, I think that we're all projecting these type of unhealed relationships in the collective. If you want to say the astral realm. However, I do feel that this is definitely what's happening. I know that I'm not the only one who's feeling this way as far as these unhealed aspects of previous relationships. I definitely have spoken to a very, very close sister of mine, and she has confirmed the same thing. And I feel like we're very in tune to the point where we start to realize the patterns. And these patterns aren't just patterns that are coming up as cycles, which if you want to go ahead and say that they are cycles, they could be cycles, but they're also patterns of awareness. And these patterns of awareness put us in a position to understand what we are able to consciously process that we weren't able to process before. do feel that I might walk again. Yeah, I think it's time to walk. It's just that I have more privacy when I'm walking than when I'm sitting down. Okay, let's take a walk. Okay. It's the cutest dog right now. All right. So as I was saying, I do feel that, you know, things come up cycles, but in a cyclical manner. I've expressed before how we sometimes think that we've finished or gone through something previously, where we feel like when it came up before, we've processed it and we've done the healing on it, but when it comes up again, it's the fact that you've only processed a portion of what it is that needs to be, almost in a sense, revised and reprocessed, right? And I feel that with all of these, with the dream state, a lot of this is reflecting on past. And a lot of the energies that I've been getting is pretty recently, within the past couple of days. A lot of the energies that I've been getting have been more so where things are coming into color. That's what my higher self pretty much has been showing me. And it's interesting because a few movies have been displaying the same message. For instance, I don't know how many of you are familiar with that movie Pleasantville, or it's Breaking Cycles. Breaking Cycles is definitely like the overall energy. However, when you break cycles, it's definitely a higher awareness, which gives more light to yourself, which is things coming in color or coming into color. Another movie that displayed this as well was The Giver. The Giver displayed it very interestingly. I just watched this movie the other day. Actually, it was one of the movies I wasn't even anticipating watching, but I always feel that when there's certain movies that kind of just stand out, it's because they're standing out for a reason. I need to pay attention. So The Giver was one of those movies where obviously it's memories, right? But as he is accepting these memories, and by the way, I've actually, I think it's interesting because I read that book in grammar school, and then I saw that they made a movie, and interestingly enough, these bugs. Interestingly enough, this movie also showed about things coming into color. And in the Giver movie, if it's easier to watch the movie, which nowadays it is, He's trying to break a cycle of sameness where all things are the same. And he is trying to allow everyone to experience what real life is, coming into full color. The hue in human is really breath, but breath is really spirit, and spirit is what makes you shine. Now, I can't say that everyone is shining. However, this is breaking cycles, and this is what's kind of been being brought to me, which is one thing that I wanted to share because it's so nice outside. So, one movie that I just recently watched, which was just 2 days ago, which is the movie Free Guy. Family, it's the same energy, breaking cycles. One thing that all of these movies have in particular, that if you have the eyes to see, it actually shows the fact that the one thing that all of these movies are associated with is a motivational factor of love, but of the feminine energy. And maybe the feminine energy, you can speak of it as spirit. And it's something about the feminine touch or feminine energy that illuminates or breathes into the vessel, which gives it consciousness. Now, I'm not speaking from a religious aspect. I won't tap into or debate a religious aspect right now. I'm simply just scrying, if you will, the energies that I've been observing. And Free Guy is a NPC character where his whole life is in a loop because he's an NPC. However, he was encoded to never find love. That when he actually did find the coding that matched his okay, so there's a character in that movie that his coding was based off of. So once he found that code, which is the vibration of that one person, it changed his whole perspective, and now he was sentient, meaning he was alive. He was seeing things from a different lens, which seeing things in color. So the transmissions I've been getting from spirit, from my higher self, how do we see things in color? Are you seeing things in color? And how many rings of power do you have? I honestly feel like rings of power is going to be a whole separate video. However, I've been seeing from my higher self that these 3 movies, right? Pleasantville, The Giver, and Free Guy are all correlating the same energy, the same message. And this is when I started realizing, wow, my dreams are actually in association to breaking the cycles of why these situations with these exes are coming up in my dreams, so that I can see things from a higher perspective, or if you want to associate it to seeing things in color. So I just wanted to share this message. How are we seeing things in color? Are you seeing things in color? And are you working through those cycles that are much needed to work through and process? You transmute all of that into a higher perspective, which then changes how you see things. So I want to leave it on that. This is Aurora Divine. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, family. Peace out.